With so many Netflix film trailers being released in the last week or so, it's not odd to think that they're just popping out films more and more so at the end of this year than they have over the previous year because they probably have finally been able to finish the production on a lot of things. Now, this film kind of took me by surprise because I really wasn't expecting it. And again, this is because usually when I'm a big fan of a certain actor or actress, I tend to kind of see what new things are coming out for them. So, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I'm a big fan of. And I didn't know that she was doing this film for Netflix. For some reason, it just kind of flew under my radar. And I'm really excited to see her in more. I think that she's a tremendous actress in a lot of the things that she's done. She was in the Thing reboot sequel kind of film from 2011. She played a role in the most recent Die Hard films. She was the captive girl in 10 Cloverfield Lane. She was in Birds of Prey. She's got a lot of things under her belt right now. And it's just exciting to see her do more, especially when it comes to a film like this. So, Kate came out yesterday, and I finally got to sit with it today, and I was super excited about it. But I would say that probably the biggest issue is that it's kind of just this cookie cutter story that they seem to be dishing out. Like, the assassin falls for the kid, and then the kid winds up being helpful, and they're just trying to make that scenario work within a certain story. What I do like is the concept of how she's been poisoned. So let's do a synopsis before I get too deep into this. So she plays an assassin who works mainly out of Tokyo, and on one of what she wants to be her last hits is something happens where she doesn't get to fulfill it, and she discovers that she's poisoned, and the poison is basically going to kill her in 11 hours or something, 14 hours, something like that. And when she finds that out, she's like, I'm going to find out who did this to me, and I'm also going to fulfill the final hit for my father figure / boss, played by Woody Harrelson. So she goes out on this big spree of detective work and just bum rushing through all these Yakuza, and the fight scenes are great. And again, I love Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and I think she did great in this role, and all the action is great. And it's just that I feel like they probably didn't 100% need the kid's character, Annie, to kind of play such a big role as she did. The little parts that she did play, I feel like could have been enough. Maybe if you took her away, you wouldn't have so many, twists in the plot or whatever. But I feel like maybe it was a bit too much of just, again, it's a very similar story. They came out with a film a month or two ago that I did another entry on called Gunpowder Milkshake. It's essentially the exact same story. It's just, I get that there's a formula that works, but that's if you kept making another film that's like John Wick, eventually we'd get a little upset because there's only one kind of path that film can take. You know what I'm saying? The John Wick film is essentially, he's a retired assassin, somebody kills his dog, he goes and murders an entire Russian mob, setup in his city. When he doesn't want to do that, he just wants to get revenge. And if they just kept doing these films where it's assassins who had animals and the animals were murdered and then they went on killing sprees for their animals, that would be overdone. So this idea of the kid in the assassin, making a connection just is kind of... I don't want it to get played out. I want there to be more action films. I want there to be better action films. And I'm not saying that there's anything downplaying the quality that these films bring to the table. What I'm saying is maybe there needs to be some more uniqueness in the storytelling. Maybe if they had it where, yes, she did at some point interact with the kid, that makes sense. But making the kid basically a sidekick for the last act of the film just is kind of it's it's getting to the point of being overdone to me. And that's the only thing I could probably say is a negative about this film. Otherwise, its plot twist is great. It's kind of expected, but again, this isn't going to be a film that wins 1,000. Like, this is nominated for an Emmy. This isn't going to win an Oscar. This is just going to be an enjoyable film to watch, especially if you're interested in more action films. And they have a lot coming out, and this is just the kind of the start of this ring in like the fourth quarter of Netflix really pushing out like films, like good films one after another. And I enjoyed it, even though I have my gripes about some of the story, some of the liberties they took with the storytelling. I still enjoyed it. I still thought it was a great action film. I thought Woody Harrelson did great. I thought the actress who plays Annie, Miku, I can't remember her last name, but I think she did great. And again, I think Mary Elizabeth Winstead did great. And what I do appreciate the most is the ending it's leading to. They didn't try to surpass it. They didn't try to give it an ending that was kind of they gave you a happy ending, but not really a happy ending. But it's an ending you were expecting, and if they went any other way, I feel like you wouldn't have walked away satisfied. I walked away satisfied with the ending, and I feel most people who give the film a shot are going to, because it's what you're expecting. But it's not what you're expecting to the extent that, you think they're going to come up with a way that isn't going to be the predetermined outcome. No, they give you the predetermined outcome, and it's satisfying because even though it's what you expected, it's not a what you expected that is detrimental to the story. It makes sense, and it doesn't leave you feeling like, that's dumb. Why would they do that? Why would they do that to the story? The story that is portrayed in this film needs that ending, and I thought it was great. So I say give it a shot. It's doing really good on Netflix right now, and I would say that it's probably gonna be a good watch for anybody looking for something action. You're waiting for the next John Wick film. You're waiting for something, and coming off of seeing Shang-Chi this past weekend, and going into this, it's just been action packed one after another, and I'm really happy about it. I think it's worth it.